That's it. So Rasmus, welcome here. Thank you for being here. Like I said, we were supposed to speak at one event together 1 year ago, and when I listened on the conference call about his work, I said, oh, I have to research that more. Then I got lost the track of him. And then recently I said, well, I really have to find him. And then even mine from India. But I found you before she got to give me the contact. And Rasmus, researchers from many sides, but the most important, I would say, that at least for us now here, is this work of yours with the heart and the sound of soul. And of course, the reference is that you were for more than 10 years chief assistant of Masao Emoto that we don't do very much now. So thank you for being here, because the selfish version was that I would be driving to Austria and I would then enjoy no stress and no nothing there somewhere. But he said I'm here in the vicinity or near, and so that's why a few of us can listen to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I have a meeting tomorrow at the university in Graz. I'm working with the university. They're developing new technologies. We have 4 students. I have the idea, and that the students make the work. No, it's not just, but it's something like this, because students have a lot of time and they develop new things. Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. Yes, well, thank you that I may show what I'm doing here. In YouTube, there are many lectures. Not in Slovenian yet, but in... Yet. Yeah, I was allowed to present this in 40 countries already. I'm not in Slovenia, that's new. Nice. Maybe start with this guy. Emoto, you know? You know Emoto? No, maybe not. This book is sold in 47 languages, more than Harry Potter. Not more books, but more languages. Harry Potter, more books. But he always said more languages than Harry Potter. Emoto, I invited Emoto together with my father 19 years ago. And we organized lectures with scientists, and in between, when the scientists have spoken, we have musicians playing. So we always make concerts with lectures. That was like my father and I did many years. So we invited Emoto, Dr. Emoto, and he invited me to Japan, and then I went to Japan. And 2 years later, when I finished my studies in Vienna and Denmark, I opened the laboratory for Emoto. So this is how it started. And yeah, and with Emoto I traveled all around the world many years, and then I was invited to Russia, and I went 40 times to Russia in my life already, because Russia is very, very interesting in science. It's very good, really. For science, for sure. Yes, and the idea of the sound of soul is like, I wanted to have something different than what normal is in medicine. In medicine, it's always like this, that the patient is the problem, and from outside, you get a therapy. Which is, of course, nice, no matter if it's, I don't know, homeopathic, or Bachflower, or chemotherapy, or any therapy, it's always from outside to help the patient. No? And my idea is that the best healing is always the heart. So we know, for example, that the human body makes in 1 second 14 million body cells. 14 and then 6 zeros in 1 second. And we know that every second, I just had a lecture yesterday, that every second you make cancer cells, healthy cells, all kinds of things. And the body normally throws it out or deals with it. And we know today, the moment you are afraid, your pH drops. You get sour. Like when you get angry, sour, you lose energy. You know pH, alkaline and acid, and when it becomes acid, you have a lack of electrodes. And now the interesting thing is that our heart is not beating always the same, the heart is variable. So when we have the heart rate, it's always different. And the heart is like an organ which is always balancing the problems out. It's not only a pump. And So the idea is to have a technology which takes the heart frequency into sound and light. This I show you. A motor, as I said before, supported very much this work. To understand what I'm doing, it's very simple. You have a tuning fork, like in music, and when you hit one tuning fork, when you hit one tuning fork, the other tuning fork starts to resonate. You can hear this. Still hear the other one. Here it still sounds. So this is when you hit one tuning fork, the other one starts to resonate. If you have a third one which has a different tune, another sound, it does not resonate. But if it has the same one, just one octave higher, like on the piano, do, do, every time higher, it also resonates. And I think this is the most important law in the universe. Why? Let's jump just over this 1 second. If you make a fist and you shake because you're cold, or you shake because you're angry, yes, you start to vibrate between 8 and 12 hertz. So if I take now a pencil here and a paper and I shake, I would vibrate 8 to 12 times a second. Okay? Now Mother Earth is also vibrating with 8 to 12 hertz. So Mother Earth, our planet, is shaking like a tuning fork. Yes? And our muscle cells, these are muscle cells cut out under the microscope. And they are shaking 8 to 12 hertz per second. So it's like 2 tuning forks. And the Russians found out, that's amazing, that's mind-blowing. This is a cell. And the cell is full of water, yes? And the water molecule, you know from chemistry, water is H2O. You remember H2O? Yes. And the water molecule makes to another water molecule a connection. And this connection is very weak. Every second, the water molecules here make millions of vibrations. It's shaking like crazy. But if a vibration comes from outside, the water molecule starts to move into a rhythm. They're like dancers giving each other a hand. So when Mother Earth is vibrating, the pH is changing. And when the pH is changing, you make electricity. If you have in the car you have red and black. Yes? Charge a car. Electrodes going to the other side. And here in between you have the radio. No? The radio works because of plus minus. My body works because of this plus minus. Because of when I make like this is electricity. When you get cancer, it's a lack of electricity. It's sour pH. So many diseases, depression, all kinds of things is also pH related. You know, when you take sugar, happy, and the sugar is gone, you fall down again. So this is like, so electricity is very important. And now the interesting thing is that when Mother Earth is vibrating, it generates electricity. And there are 2 scientists, one is Dr. Voikov in Russia, and one is Gerald Pollack in the United States. They show that we change the electricity. And now the problem is when we get fear, takes your electricity away. When you have a friend and you give him a hug, you exchange electricity. Yes? When you dance with a woman or with a man, you get coherent, actually you generate electricity because you get like this, they start to resonate. Okay. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay. And one big problem in our society is that we are always sour, we are always acid. You know? The human body is slightly alkaline. We are 7.4 pH, not 7. So we are a little bit alkaline. But when you drink too much coffee or too much sugar, we always go to acidity. We lose electricity. Okay. And now, if we have this resonance, as Mother Earth and the cells. This is the principle. And if you have, I explained before, if you have a piano, you really should try this at home. When you have a piano, try this. You open the piano and you hit with your finger, let's say the Do, any key. And then you go with your fingernails over all the strings. And you will see that the next Do is vibrating on your finger. And the next Do is also vibrating. All automatically. And the mathematical sign for infinity, you know infinity, is the layer 8. So this is the principle of homeopathy. Hahnemann understood 200 years ago, he was actually a musician in his head. No homeopath will tell you this because they all don't know. If you take, now let's say the belladonna remedy, and you put it into the water, you don't take any amount, you take a certain amount. You take maybe 1 to 10, or 1 to 100, or 1 to 1000, because you make octaves, because they resonate. If you put 1 to 37, it does not resonate. It's not homeopathic, it's not music. So this is, so the interval, because the information stays the same. I always say like this, if you read the letter A, just the letter A, if you read the letter A very big on the wall, you would read not more A than when you read A very small in the book. It's the same information. That's how homeopathy, you can say, it works. And now, it's like this, when you hit one tuning fork, all the other tuning forks start to resonate and they have the same sound. It's just mathematical law. This is why when you see the picture of your grandmother, this small, and she's smiling, you see it huge, smiling, it's the same resonance, because it's the same information you get out of it. Okay? So, and now based on this law, this is the principle we use. 0 to 0.4 Hertz is the autonomic nervous system. This is the range we hear. My dog hears up to 40,000 Hertz. The bat, you know, the Batman bat, here's up to 200,000 Hertz. So it's different ranges. And this is the range here we can see. And now it's like a tuning fork. So when Dorian was playing before, his heart sends a frequency out. And his heart says now, oh, it's like a La. And the La, if I keep on translating, it's a yellow-orange color. Okay? This is the mathematics behind it. It's very simple. Because in mathematics, everything starts by the number 1. One universe, one God, one whatever. Just one. Okay? So if you start here, you see up there, there's 1. Red. Then there's 2. You always double. 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256. Always further. Okay? And now here you make always by 3. 1, 3, 9, and then you have the Tesla numbers. So every number here is a Tesla number. If you take this number, 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7, 14, then is 21, and then you have 27, 2 and 7 is 9 again. So all the numbers become 9 here. That's just, we don't have time to go into detail into this. But this, you know Tesla? Tesla was very close from here. He was a genius. I think he came from Croatia, huh?
Yes.
And Tesla said, if you understand these numbers, 3, 6, and 9, you understand the universe. I don't understand the universe, but at least, how to say, this is how you find all the notes. You see here, Do and La, and all the notes you can generate. And so let's go back to the string. You have one string, it vibrates 1 time. This string here vibrates 1 time. If I press the finger here, this vibrates 2 times. If I press the finger here, this vibrates 4 times. It's like the computer, binary system. So we can, how to say, by doubling, we double 0.4 Hertz, it would be 0.8, 1.6, yes, 3.2, and then at a certain point we will reach this area. And at a certain point we will reach this area. And if you see here, I start by 1. Here, I start by 1. 1, 2, 4, 8, 60, and so on. And now we need a calculator. And we keep on doing this. You see, 256. Further, 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 further. And then you divide it by the speed of light. And then you get the frequency range. You remember it started by 1. So 1 is green. You see, every number has a color. Okay? This is just mathematics. So it's not like coincidence. So when I'm okay. When I play, I have a sound generator here. Just that. You see this color here? Yellow, red. Let's go one step back. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la. Here. Okay. You go here, 432 Hertz. Have you heard about this? Okay, and if you play 432 Hertz, the lamp shines yellow. It's a translation from sound to light. Okay? You follow me? Okay? So it's not like, and the idea of Sound of Soul is that there is nothing better in the whole universe than this guy. Why should I take your frequency? He needs to heal himself. So I take his frequency and I reflect it back. You know the fairy tale? For sure you have it in Slovenia too. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the most beautiful of us all? It's of course yourself. And I just want to reflect it back in a range you understand. My dog understands. My daughter understands. And this is sound and light, because these two frequency ranges, we communicate. We don't communicate with 5G, or with ultrasound, or with, I don't know, infrared, or whatever frequency range. We communicate with light and with sound. If he smiles, the light comes to me and I communicate with him. So we communicate with sound and light, that's the main. And of course we communicate with the heart, that's another topic. Okay, so the Indians, the chakras, that's amazing. How did the Indians know that the heart is green? Why is the heart green? The heart is red, no? When you open the heart is red. The heart is green. The number 1 is green. And when a little baby develops, you know, when father and mother have fun and they make a baby, the first organ, what is the first organ? It's the heart. So the heart is green. And that's the interesting thing, that the Indians, they had no computer 1,000 years ago, but they already knew this is magic. Because when I calculate this, I get these colors. Okay? And most people, they just copy. 99% of people, they just copy. They don't understand things. They just copy because this is, I want to know why it is like this. And I think the chakras are not like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The chakras are like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It goes like this. Because sound and vibration goes always in spiral. This is just somebody translated one day, and everybody copies. Because nobody, yeah, whatever. So, okay. Now we have something, it's called heart rate variability. Heart rate variability is known since about 150, 160 years in medicine. Since the 60s, we have machines, especially when a woman gives birth, we measure the variability. And Chinese doctors know about this since 2,000 years. So the more variable your heartbeat, the more different, the more beauty. And the same is with emoto. Many people say, emoto, you know scientists, because you make no two crystals which are the same. They say it's not possible. Show me two people which are the same. Show me two sheets which are the same. It's not possible. Okay. So you are actually alive because you have not two heartbeats which are the same. If you go to a big tree, there are not two leaves which are the same. So we have always different heartbeats. So the assumption is the biggest healer in your body is here. Okay? And heart rate variability today, if you go to PubMed, the internet, PubMed is the biggest, I can send you the whole presentation here, and PubMed is the biggest online. It says it has 23,000 studies for HIV. So there are a lot of studies for diabetes, for cancer, for depression, for sleeping disorder, for whatever you want. And there are many influences, of course, like the breathing, the age, the gender, what you eat, what you do, what pollution and so on. For me, the most four important influences on your heart rate variability are these four. And actually, for me, the nutrition is actually, these three are more important than the nutrition. I know many people, they're vegan, they only eat organic salads, and they're always sick. I don't say this, I was very vegan part of my life, now I'm flexitarian, but before I was very strict. But if you're always afraid, oh, I cannot be this, oh, you're so much afraid, you get sick by eating the salad. Of course, if you eat just, I don't know, bad food, it's not good. But for me, interesting thing is that these three are actually most important for me for the health. Not this more than this, but these three are. And I want to go a little bit into this. Because nutrition is education, of course, you know that you should eat, not fast food. And for me, one big problem in our society is our brain. We are a society always in the brain. Thinking, 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 thinking. The German word for entertainment is Unterhaltung. You know the word Unterhaltung. Unterhaltung means keep you down, like press you under the water. Keep you stupid. Unterhaltung means keeps you stupid, literally. And we always need Unterhaltung, all the time. Give me new, because the brain always wants to get new information. If I tell you sit next to a river and just listen to the sound of the water, the brain will say after 3 minutes, oh, that's boring. It's always the same. But if you keep on listening, you will hear a whole orchestra of sounds. And very interesting thing, for example, if you don't listen to the sound, but you listen to the silence between the sound, you get completely calm. Because the brain cannot work with silence. Okay? And now there's something very interesting, that our eyes and our brain are very similar. If I look on my finger, I cannot look in your eyes. Either look here or look there. I cannot focus on two parts. And the same is with your brain. No matter if you think in Slovenian or German or English, you cannot think two thoughts at the same time. You cannot say 2 + 2 is 4 and later I do something else. And now the interesting thing is that we always focus. We focus, 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 focus. If you have a disease, we focus on the disease, we focus all the time. But not only the brain focus, also the heart focus. So if you get, you go to a doctor, helps you, great, and the doctor says, you are so sick, you have 2 weeks left. What is he doing? He pulls you plug out, you crawl out from the doctor. You say, you get confused. And the thing is, if the doctor would give you a hug and say, you're in the healing process, congratulations, even if you have a heavy disease. Because the cancer is not like the enemy, the cancer is the trash deposit who tries to clean you from all these things. Of course it's a problem. But we have, I don't know if we should have it on film. I don't cure nobody. But we have so many people who get cured. Yes? Not by our technology, by themselves. But if you add this fear, and we have so much fear now with this coronavirus, the fear is 100 times more dangerous. Because when you get so afraid, 23,000 studies show, down even to suicides. Now we have so many suicides. This fear is, but the fear is also bringing the variability down. And we say to our children, bring it to the point. When you have children, educate the children, concentrate, concentrate, concentrate. And the whole creativity they lose. And we know, of course we have to concentrate if you learn something, but sometimes we maybe should also let go. The interesting thing is, you can close your eyes, but you cannot close your ears. You can put something in your ears, but you still hear something. And the thing is, the same is with the heart. That your heart, as I said before, and my heart always wants to resonate. No matter if I'm black or white, or big or small, or Brad Pitt, or George Clooney, or maybe not so handsome guy, the heart always wants to resonate. Yes? And that's physics. And and you say it in Slovenian, and you say it in German, listen to your heart, or broken heart, or many expressions of the heart. And it's actually a fact. The interesting thing in German, I think German is, the word aufhören, maybe you know aufhören? Aufhören means to stop. You say to the kid, hör auf, making so much noise, stop. But aufhören means also start listening. Listen. The moment you listen, the brain is quiet. You could imagine, you hear the sound of this projector. The brain from all of you was quiet now, because you put your attention on your ears. And when we start to listen, really listen, not to comment, not to say, oh, this is this now, just listen, listen, healing takes place. Because then you resonate. We can see the moment that people start to listen, the variability. And now the question is, what should you listen? Should you listen to Mozart, or Haydn, or Beethoven, or heavy metal, or techno music? There's one big problem. If you listen, let's say, to a waltz, Strauss, then it's beautiful, of course, and you can use whatever, you Daniel, or whatever sound you want to have, but you have to adapt to the sound. So if you listen to rock and roll, you will start to move to rock and roll. So this is like a stress factor. But if I take your frequency and I reflect it back, then it's you already. Then you are coherent already. You understand? But if I put Strauss, which is nice, or whatever Mozart, but then you have to move to this. Of course you should listen to nice music. It's very important. Emoto was always singing. Emoto was always. But now there's another problem. If you're very sick, and I say, you see how beautiful the world is there, and listen to Mozart, you would say, Mozart is beautiful, but I'm sick. But if I can show that this sick person is also beautiful, because his heart is, or her heart is also beautiful, and that's when you start working with this, you will see this. You can have, I had a guy, I've explained many times, it was just a funny experience. This was in the United States, the guy had several heart attacks. And he told me, my heart tries to kill me. And I said, your heart does not try to kill you. And then he had a watch, and the watch always, when the pulse was too fast, made beep, 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 that he was actually waiting for the next heart attack. And then he was eating donuts. So sugar and heart attack is perfect. Yes? Okay. And then I connected him. I don't know if I have his pictures here.
From the donut.
His heart in 10 minutes opened like this. Okay? So the principle of Sound of Soul is just to take the heart frequency and translate it into sound. Okay? And the beauty is you can make experiments with animals, because animals don't understand. My wife connected a horse, a depressive horse. There are horses which are depressed because the owner is a little bit cuckoo. So when the owner is crazy, the animals. We say in German, if you have a crazy dog,
it means you are.
Yes,
Check
exactly. So you have the same here. Okay. So she connected the horse, and the horse was just staying like this, the tongue hanging out, going completely in relaxation. And the horse does not understand what we're talking. Because you have variability, you play different sounds, different like. Okay. Now let's go further. I said what connects both of us is the heart. It's like two magnets. They influence each other. And the magnetic field of the heart, as I said before, is 2,000 times stronger than the brain. This is scientifically measured. It's not. We try to make sound of brain frequencies, and we stop this because we have no effect. Maybe it's good, but the heart is better. And now this is not exactly how we do it mathematically, but this is easy to understand. This is one cycle, no? And this repeats here again, and this repeats here again. And you see this here comes here again. But it will always be different. Because you have not two heartbeats in your life which are the same. You have every time a new heartbeat. It's never exactly the same. It's not possible. But it comes similar, not the same. But we can say, okay, this frequency should play the violin. And now this violin maybe plays a do, but here the violin maybe will play a la. And maybe here the violin will play a re. So Doyle before was playing different sounds. Because I have four, you can remember, four of this adjustments. And I say, okay, a little bit more violin, a little bit less viola. So I become like the conductor of this frequency. And now it goes further. When I connect two people, I say I take from the wife maybe these two parts and from the husband these two parts. And this is like when you dance with a partner, you have to move together, no? Otherwise you're fighting. Maybe wrestling or whatever. But if you dance together, you have to react on the lady, and the lady has to react on the guy, no? So, and when we connect two people, the two hearts, we can hear how they start to play together. They play not the same, because you're not the same, but they follow. Okay? Yeah, you heard the sounds already before. So you can play any sound. This is exactly the same lady, just different instrument, 40-year-old lady from London. Now she plays violin and flute. And this is the guy from the United States. He had several heart attacks. His heart was like this. You remember, Carmen, your heart was maybe like this. Boyan was going like this. If you would be a top sportsman, it would be like this. If it goes down to 0, you turn the light off. Because the heart needs a variability. If you cut the heart out, the cardiologist told me, and you leave the heart in the petri dish, you put all the nutrients inside, the heart dies in a few days. Because the heart needs this vitality from outside, not only the nutrients. This was the guy, worried, bad nutrition, all this kind of stuff. He said, I cannot play nice. He thinks my heart cannot be nice, he said. And then I said, wait and see. And he played, and that was after 10 minutes, he opened like this. And so I have a nice, I want to show you, I don't have it here, but I just want to show you a picture. Because this, I just showed a friend and he likes it very much. And okay, no, it's okay. I will find my own.
You have another Icing there here.
I take my phone. I hope it works. Okay, good. This guy. So, I like this guy very much. Okay. You know, this is a little crab. Maybe you have it also in some ocean somewhere. It's called the German Icing crab. When you come to this guy, he hides in the shell. Yes, you know this guy? You can stand outside, he will not come out. You can shout, do whatever you want, but when you're very quiet, he will come out again. And that's the same with your heart. So, if your heart is like this, if the heart is like this, it's because the heart tries to protect itself. This guy is not treating himself good. Stress, fear, bad food, whatever. It's like if somebody beats you, what do? You make like this? No, you will make like this. This is a protection reaction of the body. So the heart tries to protect itself. But when you protect yourself like this, you cannot heal. When I beat you and you make like this, you don't start healing. You have to relax. We know healing starts when you relax, when you sleep. The moment I give him a surrounding where he says, this is trustworthy, he comes out of his little shell again. Because if this little guy, if this little crab stays inside, he will die. For sure, he must come out. But you must give him the possibility to come out, okay? And that's what I try to do. So, this was at the University Clinic of Klagenfurt. It's very close from here. There was a girl, 12 years old, and a big car hit the girl. Yes, it was an accident, and she was in wake coma. And the mother insisted to connect the girl with the mother.
Wake coma.
Wake coma. You know coma patient? Wake coma means that you have the eyes open, but you're not here. I don't know, you was explaining wake coma. A coma patient, you know.
Yeah.
Wake coma means that you have the eyes open, you sit like this, but you're not here, you cannot communicate. Okay? I'm not the doctor in this area. And the mother insisted, and I didn't do this, a therapist did this. And they connect the daughter, the girl, 12-year-old, with the mother, and they reported after 3 minutes, the girl became very quiet, calm, the pulse went down, and after 3 days, the girl woke up again. And I've connected once a lady in wake coma, and after 20 minutes, she was following her sounds by humming. Crazy. We thought she must, it's not possible. Okay. So, why do we hear different music? I explained before, because everybody has an individual heart. Of course, if I give you a harp and you a harp, you both play harp. But of course, he will play different than you. Okay? Okay. And the more relaxed you get, the more it starts to touch you, the more beautiful it becomes. But it's not dependent. That's the funny thing is, to say again, you can have a sick person, and the person can touch you beautifully. And you can have a young, attractive person, or he's completely in the head, it won't touch you. That's the funny thing. This here, I show this always because it touches me so much. This is the mother and the daughter by nursing, breastfeeding. And the daughter plays the violin and the mother plays the viola. And I started all this not because I wanted to heal anybody. I didn't think I want to sell a machine and I wanted to make water crystals. Yeah? Because with Emoto I had a very big problem. You know why Emotos work?
Yes.
You drop, I can give you many lectures about Emoto.
But please, if you can say it in short.
Okay. The thing is like this.
Okay.
Okay. Just try something else. Yes. This is German, but you just get the pictures. Many, many pictures. Emoto wrote many books, very famous guy. This is a water crystal. And Emoto said the more beautiful the crystal, the better. And now we can see if I play music to water, I get beautiful pictures. And that's true. But the problem is there are many other influences. Also the person who makes the pictures, the water itself, and so on. But we can see the more beautiful the water, the better. I made a lot of testing with pregnant women, the water, because the water is so beautiful. This is amazing. But now people came to me and said, oh, I prayed to the water. How good am I? What a stupid question. But anyway, we tested this and many times we can get no crystals. Because the moment you want to change the water, you change nothing. Because there are two assumptions. One thing is that you are separated. And the second assumption is that you can improve it. And there's a very nice saying in Christianity. It says, your will come through, not my will. So the moment you want something, you go into your brain. If a little child, no education whatsoever, plays with the water, you get the most beautiful crystals. But the more you're in your head, the less it works. That's the amazing thing. Because with my brain, we cannot get resonance. If I dance with you, yes, we dance, have fun, no, don't dance, but if we dance, yes? If we dance, and I think, when is my next step? I will stand on her feet. Because my brain will separate me from her. But when I start to feel her, she starts to feel me, we start to dance together, no? Because the brain is amazing, can make great computers, big rockets, atom bombs, and stupid things. But the brain cannot do one thing, it cannot get coherent. The brain, when you get married, you are in love, you're not in love here, you're in love here. And when you touch yourself here. And I always say when you get your telephone bill, when you touch yourself, you say, oh my God. No, it's like it is. And so the thing is, when a person says, I want to make the water better, I didn't get a crystal. I had testings with very high esoteric leaders. I didn't get a crystal. Emoto was angry once on me because I could not make a crystal of one of the highest Buddhist bosses, chiefs. I said I had a bad day, it was my fault. I didn't want to get a conflict. And then a little boy plays with the water, and I get the most beautiful crystals. And I didn't understand why he is so big, amazing guy. But the more you're in the head, the less it works. And that's the same with the heart. So when I always show it like this, when I say to somebody, don't think of the yellow elephant, don't think of this elephant, what do? You think of the elephant. The thinker cannot say to the thought, stop thinking. But the moment you become aware, it goes. And the problem is if you have a heavy disease, let's say you have a diagnosis of whatever, diabetes, cancer, whatever, you become like this, of course, you become like this little crab. And how should you heal yourself? Because your conditioned mind says, game over. But if the doctor says, the game is starting now, you're healing, congratulations. Wow, see how great your body is. You will change like this. And it's a teaching process. And whatever. And back to the crystals. And then I saw if I take the heart frequency of the body, no matter if you are a saint or insane, it's very funny, I get a beautiful crystal. I had a lady, she was 103 years old. I get a beautiful crystal. I get a little baby, 3 months old, I get a beautiful crystal. Because this is maybe esoteric, but the heart is always beautiful. I say also a dictator, the worst teacher of yours, has a beautiful heart. Up here, he was for sure crazy. But down here, the heart tries to keep you alive. Because the heart is the resonator. Your heart resonates with my heart, with the trees, with everything. The electromagnetic field is much stronger, it's physics. So, okay. So this is the mother and the daughter playing, and then I played the water crystals, and you can hear it. This is first I want to show. This gentleman here from Holland, it's 200 years ago, about 400 years ago, he could show mathematically, if you have the room full of these watches, the watch with the pendulum. He saw that these pendulums, they start to interact. They don't become the same. You will never become your husband, or you will never become your neighbor, but you start to communicate, no? So he could see that these watches are communicating. Even if this watch comes from Africa, this comes from Europe, because the hearts always communicate. Just the stupid brain says, this, I don't know, Slovenian or Croatian or Austrian guy, I don't communicate. This is the stupidity of it, okay? And I wanted to develop something so actually to show that the Palestine and the Jewish, or the black or the white, or the husband or the man, the heart always gets coherent. Okay, he could show it mathematically, and you can show it, you can make the experiment by yourself, it's very simple. You take metronomes, you can go on the internet, there are thousands of videos, and these metronomes will take a long time until they get coherent. These are like 5 people all in their head. But if these 5 people will start to dance together, while you fight with your father or the neighbor, if you would dance with this guy, they lose the rigidity. Yes? The second one always gets out, and after 5 minutes they're all together. And this is the same what the heart is doing. And this is the magic, if there's a magic, that you can experience this. And it's beautiful. You can connect yourself with another person. The word person is from Old Latin. It means personare. And personare means sound goes through. So you are sound. Person means sound. Sound going through the body. Okay, so this is mother and daughter. And they played it. We did not compose it. problem with this work because many times you're very touched. Because sometimes, if I have people who are sick, I always send them to somebody else. I don't want to treat the people because you must be you have top managers starting to cry when they do themselves. And this is not always so easy, but it's of course nice. Yeah, this is okay. Let's see what the next is. So it's very touching. You literally fall in love sometimes with the people you hear. Not in love like I want to marry them, but it's so touching. It's very nice. Okay, so people working with Sound of Soul, I have 5-star hotel working with this. When people come and get their Botox and silicone and all this stuff, they also can hear the beautiful of the heart. I have doctors, healers, one lady working in school with it. Yes, actually, all kinds of fields. Okay, yes. So, yeah, this was very touching. This was a study in Italy. They connected the women during birth, and when the womb was 4 centimeters open, they started to press start. And you know, that's the time where it hurts the most. When you have kids, I joined 4 births, so I have seen it at least in my experience. And the lady, while the womb starts to open, is listening to her sounds, and they experienced that the pain went down by 70%. Because when you're afraid, when you're like this, and I put a needle here inside, oh, the needle is coming, it hurts 10 times more than when you say, come on, give me this needle. And that's the funniest thing, but of course it's crazy. And then they made studies with nursing when they could not give milk to the baby. Because when you cannot feed the baby, you get very afraid of you know, it's conflict. And they got beautiful results with it. And yes, so that was very touching. And this is in Brazil, very big cancer clinic. And yes, this is in Rome. They do now during heart surgery. This guy, he's laying there, there are many monitors, they are operating, but at the same time he's listening to his heart. Seriously. Yes. So, and this is in Switzerland. This is the biggest psychiatric clinic in eastern Switzerland. There are 700 people working of patients. So it's a huge institute. Okay. This is the 5-star spa in Austria, one of them. So it's from all kinds of fields. Yes, this is my last picture I showed you already. I have many pictures with dogs, this is because they also resonate. This was a 3-month-old dog, and after a few minutes they were both snoring on a cold tile floor. So it's very sweet. Okay. Yes. So this was my presentation. I can show you many more things if you want. So, yes. Or if you have questions.
Thank you, Rasmus.
Thank you.
For sharing your work with us.
Yes.
Some of us had a privilege to experience it a bit more before, but thank you for sharing. Question?
Yes.
What you think about Rife frequency?
Rife frequency?
Health frequency.
Well, what Rife was doing, I think nobody knows exactly, because
Yes.
otherwise we would benefit much more from it. I'm not familiar with it. I know he had or at least they say he had the most amazing microscope, which I've never seen. I just think there is not one frequency. Because if there's one frequency, it's death. If your heart is only one frequency, because many people say, oh, you need 432 hertz. Of course, 432 hertz is good, but it's the overtones. Because you must imagine like this, if I would say every person from Slovenia with 1 meter 60 is a good person, and everybody with 1 meter 65 is a bad person, you would say this is nonsense. Important is what the persons are doing. These are their overtones, their reflections. So I don't think it's only one frequency. There are many frequencies.
Many frequencies.
But the frequency important is the overtone. If you sing La, and your mother sings La, and your neighbor sings La, you can say, this is my mother, this is my neighbor, Why? Not because of the frequency, because of the overtones of the sound. You can distinguish them. And in Russia, for example, they made experiments with the overtones. You can say, I'm innocent. But they calculated the overtones, if they are harmonic, if it's true or not. So there is the quality. And in the Bible, it says one word, and my soul is cured. Actually, it means physically one vibration in its quality, and it has a healing effect. And I don't think, of course, 432 is the best sound for La, because if you take 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, and so on, and then you make the intervals, you get 432 hertz. This is my presentation before. But the importance are the relationship of all these frequencies. Because the most important interval for us human is the fifth. You know, do, re, mi, fa, so, do, so. It's the quint, you know, quintessence. I have presentations about this if you want to know. The quint, let's see if I have it here somewhere. That's an interval. Oh, I can show you so much about sound if you want to hear it. Here. Here. The secret of the fifths. Maybe you have in Slovenian also quintessence. You know quintessence? What is the quintessence? It's the most important thing you have heard maybe today. How do you get
the vocals many years ago?
the fifths? Yes, exactly. How do you get the fifths? If you have a string, let's take here a string. Here's a string.
From our song was that,
Yes, but most people don't know why it's so important. And why the fifths? How many fingers do we have? 5, no? How do we get the fifths? If I have an instrument here, the sound, okay? If I take here the sound and I exactly make half of it, I hear the octave. Do and the next do. How do I get the fifths? The fifths, so do, re, mi. So here is do, re, mi, fa, so. How do I get this interval here? I get it when I take this sound and I divide it in 3 parts and I let 2/3 vibrate. We are 2/3 water. We vibrate in the fifth. So every music therapist in the world, no matter if it's in Asia, Japan, South America, they use the octave and they use the fifth. That's the 2 most important. Now, if 2 people resonate, husband and wife, 2 friends, how do we resonate if we don't fight? We resonate in the fifth because there are 3 parts. You, I, and our project. It's the 3rd part. Or 2 person, mother, father, and the child is the 3rd part. Okay? So Hahnemann, when he made potencies, he made C, D, all these potencies, and he made an M potency, 1 to 5, 1 to 50,000. And he did not dilute it 1 to 3 or 2 to 3. No, he diluted it right away 1 to 5. Because water is vibration, water is not matter. And vibration, like in the sound, the piano, the sound, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But the string, to get it, you have this, the 3rd dimension, you have to vibrate by 3. I can show you this if you want all this. It's super simple. You have a string, okay, and this string vibrates now, up and down, okay? And let's say it vibrates 1 time. If I take the same string here, and I press my finger here, half of it, now it vibrates 2 times. Okay? If I take it here again, I put my finger here, it's the 1 first, now it vibrates 4 times. It's double, 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 double. Okay, that's the octave. Now, I go here and divide it in 3 parts, and I let 2 parts vibrate. Okay? So this is 2/3. If this is do, if I make half of this, this would be the next do, the octave. But what do I hear here? I hear do, re, mi, fa, sol, la. Do, re, mi, fa, sol. I hear the sol. I hear the fifth. So it would be if I have a piano here. I go here to do, and I get here the fifth. Yes? I get here to the soul. By the dividing by 2 to 3. That's the interval of the fifths. But how does it work? If you have the Fibonacci, you know Fibonacci? You know Fibonacci? 1, 2, 3, 5, what's next? 8. You always add this plus this is this. This plus this is this. This plus this is this. Then you have the golden ratio. Okay? You follow me somehow? Okay. Now I can make the same here. You have one string, this is the first one. Now I go here, I divide it by 2, and I go one step back, I have again the same, because do and do is the same. 1 and 1 is the same. Now I go here to this one, I divide it by 3, that 2 parts vibrate, and what do I hear? I hear the fifth. So you have the Fibonacci in the sound. So, and we are nature, no? So, the 3 parts, if this would be 2 friends, Julian and me, and if we resonate together, we resonate in the interval of the fifth. And all, all the music therapists, they always work with the fifth, everybody. So when I do, for example, when you play the birds or the rain, I just use the fifth because I want to have this resonance. You understand a little bit what I want to say?
I understand there's a great mystery in science behind it.
I understand nothing what I'm doing. I just try to understand what nature is doing. And this is the fifth. And let's go somewhere else. Beautiful. I show you some differences. If you want to hear. This is a square. Okay? Square. You have 90 degrees here, 90 here, 90 here, 90 here, 4 times 90, 360, okay? The same is a circle, also 360, right? Okay. This is the sound. If I take 360, this is the sound. Okay? If I multiply, this is a pentagon. Okay? Pentagon, this is the holy symbol of the woman around the world. That's the fifth. Now in the United States it's the Pentagon. It's not so holy. It's abuse of, this is in the Middle Age, the church made this the symbol of the devil. That's, you can imagine what the church was doing. The women, they burned the women, and they made this the symbol of the devil. How stupid, but how intelligent, how insane. Now this is how they interval and so on. And now the relationship between this and this is the fifth. So if I multiply 360 by 3 divided by 2, I'm just doing this here. This to this is the interval of the fifth. It's like music. Form and music is the same. Information means vibration changed into form. The hexagon, 720 degrees, okay? 6 times 120. This is how the hexagon sounds. What is half of 720? 36. There you go. And that's what I experience. So it's exactly the octave. So when I make the water crystals, I see a circle, and suddenly the circle becomes a hexagon. Because it's the same information, it's just an octave higher. Okay? So, I love this word. You see, this is a hexagon developing out of a circle. So the emotor saw that this water crystal is like a tuning fork. And you see in the water crystal, the most important thing in the water crystal is not the branches, it's the center. This is a good water crystal. Completely pure. Now you have a dodec layer. And now we have the problem with 5G. 5G is a big problem. 5G, we will get heart rhythm disorder, you will not believe it. I can predict it on video. When the 5G comes out, you can make a clinic for heart rhythm disorder and heart attack. This is going to be a huge problem. I'm not kidding. When you are very tired, you work very much, and you take your computer, you put it on your lap, you see a long film, that's the bad film, it's actually on the news, better. See 5-hour news. We can see how your heart becomes to say, help, you get heart rhythm disorder. I can see this. I don't believe this, I can see this. Now the interesting thing is the magnetite. The magnetite is a mineral which has the highest magnetism, natural magnetism. Okay? And the heart has the biggest, highest magnetism of our body. I have here in my mobile phone magnetite. This protects you. Buy magnetite, make powder, and make it plate and put it on your phone. It is a harmonizer. Still don't use 20 phones, but it helps you. The magnetite has a lot of magnetism, and the magnetite, if you see, it has an angle. Okay. It would sound like this. And it's 2 octaves of the circle. Okay. So, yes, I don't know if I should show you all this stuff. Yeah, that's all the work, all the crystals. This is what I'm doing. But the result, I do a lot of water testing. But for me, the most magic thing is your heart, because your heart is your healer all the time. And the magic is not this machine. The machine is nothing. The magic is you, like the mirror in your bathroom. If your mirror in the bathroom would be brown and maybe a little bit shaped, that I have the shape of Brad Pitt, this would be done again, I would say this mirror I want to have. But then that's trying to change you. I don't want to change you, I want to reflect you in the frequency range which is you, or which you understand. This is sound and light. And then it starts to help yourself. Because normally in medicine it's always like this, you are the problem, and based on empirics, I want to correct you, which is okay, I give you this remedy or this plan. But even if I would have 10 Nobel Prizes, I would never understand the magnificence of your body, never close. So the idea is to show this, and the oldest form of therapy all around the world is always music. You have maybe children? What did you do when your child was sick?
Hold.
You hummed. You hold your baby. You don't put the baby on your brain. You put your baby, every mother does it. They put the baby on their heart. They put it here to make both, when they have drunk a lot of milk, they make together. But when the baby is sick, you put the baby here. And what is every mother doing? She starts to hum. She tries, how to say, to give the baby a comfort. So actually she's doing the same what I'm doing. She takes the heart and tries to make comfort. Okay.
I have an interesting experience. When I hug my friends, I always hug them that our hearts are touching. So
I know this, yes.
on this side.
Yes,
And we were doing an experiment a few
Kinesiology.
years ago. Yes.
I know.
When you hug on the other side, your energy lowers.
Yes.
And when you hug on
I
this
know, we
side,
made this experiment with Emoto.
yes.
Yes, we have the same experience. This is a protection. Because when you give another person a hug, you come very close.
Yes.
And you try to get a little bit distance again. But when you, I don't know, when you hug your kid or something, then you don't need this distance. So this is true. This is absolutely. Yeah, I don't know what more we want to see. The pyramids, they did not build the pyramids to
Be nice.
to put some pharaohs inside. That's stupid. How much energy for one old stupid guy? It's the pyramid is sound. If you see here a pyramid makes a sound. So if you put a person into the pyramid, he gets entrained. He gets a special experience. And if you take this, it's the same material. 100% the same material. So a cube cancels out. So it's very interesting. The color black cancels out. What did they do in Mecca? Mecca is one of the most holy springs in the world. It's amazing water in Mecca. They put a black cube on us. They don't want to have this information out. It's not that the Muslims, in every religion, the Christians make the Pentagon to the symbol of the devil. There's so much knowledge, and they take it just around. And if you take now the coronavirus, we have here in the video, it's criminal what they do. It's criminal. Soon we have all, I cannot come to Slovenia maybe in 1 year if I don't have the vaccine. So it's business and it's not healing. So we have to change the world into healing. Yes, yeah. So that's another story. Yeah, I don't know what more should I tell you. Yeah. So these are many, many things I'm doing in the work. Quality of sound, about chemistry, I can show you a lot how you change the pH by, that's products work of the United States. If you give your friend a hug, you make the same like the water, electrons, and you suddenly have more electrons. You generate electricity by hugging someone. This just happens on your body, on your cellular level. When you get coherent to a nice sound, what you do, your water molecules starts to shake together, like Mother Earth in the cells I said before, and you generate electricity. Because electricity is the source of life. If you don't have electricity, you cannot work, you cannot operate. And when you see this here, this is a jellyfish, the biggest jellyfish in the world, pumping 2 tons of water. Or this is a jellyfish in the deep ocean. This is an animal, just generating light. And it's not generating light by eating fish. It's generating light by a resonance phenomenon. So this is actually going to try to do the sound of soul. I just try to that you resonate with your heart. That's all. Yeah.
So easy.
So easy. Okay, I think that's enough. No? So otherwise it's too many things. Yeah, what I also do very much, I told before, we do ice bathing. I do breathing. We can make a seminar here if you want. We had a guy with prostate cancer. After 3 months of breathing, sound of soul, we don't treat. Experience of his beauty, and ice swimming.
Like Wim Hof.
Like Wim, I know Wim Hof. I met him. You know this guy?
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's good.
this is me, this is my dog.
The dog is not that brave to go.
My record is half an hour already. You get such strength. And you have 2 square meters of skin. Okay? And you have all this, how to say this, mitochondria. These are your energies. And you can become lazy and do nothing, but you can work and become healthy again because your body wants to. We had a guy with prostate cancer. His level, I forgot the name, was by 360. Normally in the health, exactly. A healthy guy is by 4, 5, 6. After 3 months, his values were down to 5 again. So there are so many things. So we try to activate the person by breathing, as I said, ice, and then the sound of soul we try the opposite, relax. Like in the body, if you become a bodybuilder, you take heavy weights, you train, but then you have also to relax. So both sides. And the oxygen is so in your oxygen chamber. With oxygen you can do so much. It's so interesting. This lady in the wheelchair, she came 3 times already. This was in winter, the Lake of Constance was 5 degrees. She was on her crawling inside. My father is on the picture, he's 74 years old, never had ice bathing. After half an hour breathing exercise, he went into the water. And we actually had to say, come out now, stop, it's enough. And this is so easy to help people. It's amazing, it's beautiful.
It's sometimes too easy because when it's easy, people think, that's not possible. It's too easy.
Yes.
You have to complicate things.
Yes. But the beauty is
downstairs, you mentioned the Schumann. We have downstairs the Schumann Platte. You know, the machine that's massaging the machine you just lie on. It's only vibrating with Schumann.
Wonderful.
So we really like those easy things. Yeah? It's quite hard Yeah.
For me, I think the heart rate variability, as I showed before, these values, I think everybody should learn about this. Because if I take here Doyan's heart, if I may, if you make a report, and I think not only the therapist should learn it, I think every child should learn it, not child, at least high school. Because you can see a normal adult should have 2,000 to 3,000. This is 1,250. It's okay, but you could increase it amazingly. And if you do now your Schumann playing, or whatever you do, don't believe nothing. See if you can increase it. Okay? So, and we can show the patient. I had a lady in Africa, in Namibia, where I gave a lecture. The lady had 7,000. Such a huge heart, who's 70 years old. I have 5,000 and I have vacation in next door. I had a guy in Rome, he had 9. There was almost nothing anymore. We had a lady, so many stories. I had one guy, he had 20, and after 2 weeks of treatment, he had 400. So this little crack wants to come out. Yes, and I think this is not so difficult to read this. You can see so many things, and it's nice if you combine it. Whatever treatment you do, and the patient can, even if they don't understand it, they can see, oh, my total energy increased, my sympathetic went down. You can see many things.
Ja.
Was das schon etwas gesehen?
Ja,
Yeah, you tried, Carmen tried also.
Yes, yes. And the interesting thing is, the interesting thing is that you can change any heart. Everybody, no matter how sick they are, if you do a good work, it's like a miracle. You can do many, many things. You should not claim that you are the healer. You're just the helper. The healer is the body itself. I never claim any healing.
in fact, you cannot call yourself neither therapist, neither healer. In Slovenia, no.
In Austria, you can become an energetic. But I have also doctors working with this. But it doesn't matter. I just want to show the patient or the people that their own heart wants to support you. That's all. And if you are a cardiologist, of course you can use it differently than when you work with the cardiac heart. But of course it's nice to show the changes.
There was supposed to be one psychiatrist here who was dealing with panic attacks, and he was very interested, but
Yes.
he's sailing somewhere far from panic. Yeah.
That would be amazing to have people with panic attacks.
Yeah, and he even, it's interesting now. He's even started or wished to start some research very concretely connected with the heart and some measurements, so all connected for sure.
Yes. It needs therapists, doctors, practitioners who are open that the healer is you. If you're an authority, like a normal, let's say, doctor who thinks, I'm the big healer, I have 5 minutes for you, maybe 2 minutes, it's absolutely wrong.
So one question, could it be possible that you would go around like you have the portable ECG, that someone would record and then you would put a sequence in the Sound of Soul machine and then you would post festum get the sound, if you understand what I mean? If it is in special circumstances and so on.
We are now developing this, but it's more as a plus gadget, but it's not actually my target, because in your bathroom you don't have a picture of yourself hanging. You have a mirror, because you want to see you now. If I take the recording from you from yesterday, it's not you, it has been you. So it's not the live interaction, it's nice. For example, I have the recording of my grandmother. She died 2 years ago. So I can bring her light and her sound back again, can connect myself, we have developed this, and I can play with her. It's beautiful. But of course it will not replace her in person, but it's a beautiful thing. But the therapy, when I work with myself, I never listen to my sounds from yesterday. because I have the device, I listen to myself now, because the effect is much bigger. You have to understand, if I take your frequency, your sound I have made today, and you listen to this tomorrow, you have to get coherent to this. So you will, if now you are here, and let's say this was yesterday's treatment, you will have to adapt to this, but you cannot go higher, because the CD will not change. But if you listen to yourself, you can, there is no limit. I increased my own frequency once by 12 times in 16 hours. You understand? So if I take a frequency from yesterday, from a good treatment, I give it to the patient, of course, but after 2 weeks the patient will say, this is not me anymore, because you want to go further. And you can again go to the Bible, because it's so wonderful. Also, when I left the church long ago, but it's nice saying, if you are in paradise, but you have a fence around, after 1 week you stand at the fence, because you want to go further. And this is exactly the same with your sound. So it's nice to have your, I have at my home all the pictures of my children from our vacations, which is nice for memories, and I see this, I resonate, and it's nice, but it's something different to play with them. You know, it's a live interaction. So this is why we say to the patient when they come, you take the frequency with you, but let's replace it after 2 weeks. So this is, yes.
Any more questions?
And so, yes, between, let's say, between two therapies, you recommend better food, exercise, more blah, 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 whatever, let's say, and then you can check and next time.
Absolutely.
Because you have all the numbers. And,
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what I say. No matter if you put now this oxygen chamber down there. I have no experience with this. But I'm always a person, I don't believe nothing. Even if it's 3 Nobel Prize, I would not believe it. I didn't believe in Moto. I wanted to prove him wrong. That was my approach this time. Today I can see he's completely right. He was a crazy philosopher, but I can see the beauty equality. That's just, I cannot put Mozart and say, oh, Mozart makes this crystal and Beethoven makes this crystal. That's nonsense. That was in Moto's philosophy. That's nice. We cannot do this. I can see Beethoven makes a nice crystal, but I cannot say this 10 crystals come from Beethoven and this 10 comes from Mozart. I cannot do this. I can say they make a harmonic picture. But for me, the biggest, let's say, the most beautiful reflector is your heart. Because I could tell you many things, you could tell me many things. If I see your values become better and better and better, that's what I want to see. And so I would, it can be that from your pressure chamber, it goes down maybe, but don't be, let's say, shocked. Wait 2 days, 3 days, because many times you get first. But in the long run, it should become better. That's very important. And the beauty is with the heart, you can see, when I make a live treatment, and if I see, I showed before, when the heart starts to open, we resonate. So, or it is good.
I would like to something ask. What kind of patient or people decides to do this therapy? It's I see they doing the therapies are doing in psychiatry, in surgery. Why people decide to do this therapy? What brings them?
Okay. When I launched this 2011, I thought nobody would be interested. I thought just crazy people like me maybe would be interested. Okay, who would be interested? Now the interesting thing is, I get it from all areas. I have a person working in school with it. I have one person who worked with top sportsmen with this. One of the best Austrian soccer player, when he's stressed, listens to this. And then we have, the funny thing is, there is no limit. There is no limit. I had the idea, one painter came to me and said, when I paint, I'm completely in, I don't know, law of resonance, whatever. And his idea was, when you go to a gallery and you see the nice picture he painted, you can take headphones and listen to his heart, what was his feeling while he was painting. I never had this crazy idea. So the thing is, everybody. So this is the funny thing, I meet the most esoteric people, you could say, and I meet down to oncologists working with this. So I think there is no, for me the most important part is actually the teaching. for me the most important part is the ethic teaching, because we have to change the world. If we continue like this, we are in slavery in 10 years, 20 years. The world is crazy. And conflicts, if we two are fighting, that's the philosophy, the third part is happy. That's what they always do, you know? And I want to show that while the husband and the wife is fighting, for example, I'm married 20 years, okay? After 10 years or 7 years, we had our big problems. Everybody has it. And then we went to a therapist, classical couple therapist. And I had the feeling I have now two ladies picking on me. My wife and this therapist. And I said, what a nonsense. I didn't meet my wife in couple therapy. I met my wife by dancing. So why should I solve the problem by the thing which has caused the problem? The problem was up here, because after 20 years you know everything of the stupid girl and she knows everything about the stupid guy. So Einstein said you cannot solve the problem by the approach which has caused it. And the problem is always caused by the brain, because the brain separates us. After 10 years you can be married to Brad Pitt, you will fight with him. Just so you know, everybody's crazy about it. But you have to develop, of course, further to go along. And this is why I have people working with couple therapy. And to answer your question, I don't know what comes tomorrow. I have the biggest stem cell technology center in the world that bought 2 devices. I have no idea about stem cell. So I think for me most interesting is school teaching to change something, not the healing. Healing is nice, it's a business, it's nice to help people, no problem, no question about it. But I think that in our time more important is to show the limit of the mind. The healing was actually a side effect. Emoto said that sooner or later this approach will be recommended by doctors and this pharmacy and all this kind of thing. And last year, a big Swiss insurance company, they hired me, and I gave one lecture after the next. So I think it's just a matter of time, because we need patients who don't put the authority to the doctor, but see it as a friend. You go hand in hand the way of curing. And we don't, in German we have a Krankenkasse. It should be a Krankenkasse, not a sick. Yeah, so to your question, I think I most like actually the idea of teaching and to learning, and the healing is actually beautiful, but that's just an output. So, yeah. Questions? So this is the crazy thing we do here. Yeah. And as I said before, the handling is very simple. The teaching I record, so everything I show you, we make a video. So all these parameters, of course you have to learn them, but it's not very difficult. And so this is that's done.
And if you would like to know about the price, about the conditions.
Toya knows everything.
Yeah, but it's already on the.
Yeah.
You sent it, it's on the site. What is it?
No, the system costs 8,900 euro. That's the whole system, not this light. This I built extra, and this includes the teaching and everything. You need to the computer by yourself, of course. I work only on my computer. That's for someone else title, not Apple, because it's much easier to maintain. If you work with a personal computer, it's a full-time job just to repair this computer.
You have also some lights and this and that.
There is a light. Well, this is the case. There's everything. That's everything inside to work with it. So there is a simple light. It's a simple light. This is just a basic. You can connect it to the hue system. So I can put here all those bulbs with hue. Then your whole heart is shining with all these lamps. There was an idea we want to make it in the Times Square in New York, to make the Empire State Building with your heart lights. I don't know if this one comes true, but American came to me. I hope this would be amazing. You could stand there and say, my heart is amazing. Whatever. But this is the basic system. This is another part. This part is implemented here already in this light. This is where we translate the breathing cycle into light. Yes, Emoto told me I should not make small machines, I should make big machines. Because then we can sell them much more expensive. But things become smaller and smaller.
He was a smart guy.
Yes. For sure. And yes, so this is the system, and I teach only individually. So if somebody purchases the system, I only train you. You tell me who is part of the training. Because if 5 people, let's say in Slovenia, would buy it, I cannot focus on 5 people. Maybe you are an oncologist and the other one is healer. I don't do this. This always.
But we have some of these bigger lights. I saw it on the side.
We have one light, but this I just produced. This is a little bit expensive.
Tu não imagina simbólica, você não mais e blá blá como ne kliče. Ali. Mislim.
I'll find, because it's an easy password if you go find the Wi-Fi.
No, I need it. Okay, my phone is here. Let's see.
I can say it's really.
Okay, now then I have to focus. Which
2030,
one?
2030.
230?
Yeah, this 2030 and now it's 2030, 2050.
Okay. So we park my car outside tonight and go to it. We have a joke in Austria. When your mobile phone suddenly goes into the Wi-Fi, the wife knows here's an affair. Because then you can connect because you can't because of this stupid joke. But we have stupid jokes. And this is the light. These are columns. The picture is actually not so good. This is a column this size. This one I don't sell anymore because it's so much work. It's water-coated, it's beautiful. It's this size, but I produced now one for Japan, but this is, I take it out of the internet. It's very nice. This one here is filled with 10 kilos of mountain quartz. And the speciality of this light, the problem is the lack of variability. If you have a mobile phone, it's always the same vibration, it's pulsed, it's the same. If your heartbeat becomes more and more the same, you get a heart attack. So the variability is important. The danger of this new technology we have today is that it's always the same frequency. So if you take your mobile phone here, the one vibration of your heart tries to get coherent with the vibration here. So the variability decreases. Now we get 5G. The variability decreases even more. If you go to a techno concert, techno music, bam, 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 generated by a machine, young people get heart attacks. No water, maybe drugs, and then always, because coherence means that one vibration tries to resonate with the other vibration. And the techno machine does not change, so your heart has to adapt. We have here a light, and this light is also, this light has no pulsation. If you, this is my German, let's go a little further.
What means it has no pulsation?
If I put an oscilloscope, this is our light. The oscilloscope is completely quiet. Okay? If you take the light, I don't know if it's in this video actually. If you take the hue lamp, okay, this is the light like the hue lamp. This is a pulsed light. If your heart would get so similar, you would have a heart attack. So the problem is that all these LEDs.
So the crystal, the one you made, has no. So it has.
Exactly. This light is completely quiet. I didn't develop this. A friend of mine, I met him.
This one is quiet.
This is quiet, and this lamp is also quiet. This lamp here is not quiet because this is a cheap lamp.
The hue is also not
The
quiet.
hue is even worse. Hue is completely pak, 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 pak. Now the question is, of course, the hue is a stressed light, so I would not have the hue in my living room 24 hours. But you have, of course, if you have here the pulsation of the screen, it's of course stress. The question is, of course, how strong is the light? and how long are you exposed. If you see the picture here of a person you like very much, even if it's pulsed, now it's a question. If you see a beautiful person you like, even if it's pulsed, you have a nice resonance. So if a person holds the hue lamp, even if it's pulsed, the baby holds, or the husband holds the light of the wife in his hands. Maybe you can change and help him very much, but the light is not the best. It's like compromises. The best would of course be to have a completely quiet light. But for me more important is that he experiences her beauty. Yeah, both is important because the sound has another opening than the light. The sounds open the doors. If we hear now music, we will always love to move to the music. Because the sound has more effect physically on us. But the light, so the sound opens the doors, but the light goes through, the light goes deeper. So best is of course the combination. So by myself, I work only with this kind of light. But I would start just, hue is fine, it's a nice experience, and this is good. So this is what we have, this simple light inside. But we have developed this light for like, because we hear, what we do is, we put a water glass on this, I connect your sound with through, and I give you, this is the motor's part, your water home, 1 liter, drink every day. And the biggest effect of this is maybe not even the water, it's your awareness while you drink it. Every drop you drink, your awareness is probably more healing than the light. Yes. So, but it's very nice. So you can give the CD, you can give the water home, you can give this, of course, many things. And the beauty is, we tested this and we get amazing crystals. This is nice. So, but I say this is like an upgrade. This is the basic.
So you do also the crystal photo shooting, or?
Yes. Yes. I do not so much anymore because it's so much work. But if therapists come to me and ask me, I do this. This lamp we sell for 1,800, and the big one is 8 or 9.5 kilo mountain quartz we sell for 4,500. This we sell for 8,900 in the teaching industries. This is the, and this comes of course with the measurement and all this. Yes. So
Thank you, Rasmus.
I say thank
You
you.
would for sure like the map here, that's for sure. There is space for many more.
Yes, this is what I'm looking for now actually is partners. Because my problem is I have 24 hours. I have now a wonderful partner in Poland, I have a wonderful partner in the United States. Now I'm training one partner from New Zealand because I want to travel and give lectures, but I don't want, it's okay of course, but installation or it should multiply by itself. So, but everything comes as it comes, and yeah.
We know the challenge.
Yes, it's so, okay, if you have no more questions. Lecture is empty.
Yeah.
That's the symbol, 4%, 6%.
Yes. Okay.
Rasmus,
Okay.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
So this ice bath, try this. It's amazing. Even if you say I don't like cold water, nobody likes cold water. Every morning I shower cold. Every morning I stand. I'm doing this nonsense. After I did this, it's amazing. I met Wim Hof, this guy, and he shows you the exercises. And it's amazing. You get an energy you have not experienced. I made this push-up, pull-up.
Yeah.
I made last summer 78 push-ups with no breathing, and I'm not that big. Normally I make maybe 40 or something. My daughter, she's 17. Is she there? No, she's not. She's also inside. Even my 7-year-old daughter jumps inside already. Not so much, but she's starting. She makes normally 20 push-ups. When she makes the breathing, half an hour with me, she makes 40. It's amazing. So you can start to train in an amazing way. And we do this with the cold water. And normally in winter, I always say, oh, I don't like winter. It's cold, it's boring. I'm looking forward to the winter. I was this winter a little bit frustrated because my river was not frozen a single time. I like to go inside and make the river bigger, the water at home. And this is amazing. So you get really active Because one big problem in our health is the adrenaline. We have also slightly high adrenaline. But if you make this, you get very high adrenaline and you get completely calm. And the adrenaline is also a curing part. And so this is my main hobby now, to show people. This lady, she's 70. We had to pull her out of the water because she was so happy and excited that she comes every time. And it's nice. So yeah, this is quite funny.
This is unclear.
You can start simple. If you say it's too cold, start to shower cold just here inside. And this goes directly to your heart. You train your heart by making this here cold.
That's what I do.
That's wonderful.
Here.
Yes. But best is of course not start hot and then go cold, because this is like so. Go in when you have reached that, go only cold. Because when you shower very hot, 10 minutes, and then you make 10 seconds cold, this does not train your mitochondria. It cools them a little bit down. So this is not so. This is okay, but it's not effective. And it's great against depression. We have many people with depression. So many people have depression. Start with this cold stuff, in combination with sound so, it's wonderful. It's nice. And people get happy again. There's no drought. Yes.
I'm showering with cold water for many years.
Wonderful.
Finishing with cold water. It's a big difference.
Today or tomorrow you start only cold. Try to make a calendar and write it down. Because then if you have the whole month full, you say, oh, there's one day missing. You do one extra cold shower. So this is very good for the male ego.
How many degrees is cold water? 5 or 15?
Only cold. The colder the better. I was in Poland. I gave a lecture in Poland, and I had my apartment in a high building, and I think they put some alcohol in the pipes because the water smelled like ethanol. So the water was the coldest I ever experienced, because that it does not freeze. They put something inside. It was strange water, but it was so good. This was dirty. This was like liquid ice. It was not so good. But normally, just cold.
So thank you.
Oh, thank you. I understand. So.